In a town called Marantinho, in Brazil, our main character, Ina, walks in their living room telling her grandmother and brother to hurry up as they need to leave soon for a fashion show that Ina organized. Ina's grandmother joyfully watches the TV, showing Quelina, a celebrity, performing a tribute to Portella, a Samba school in Rio de Janeiro. Fondly reminiscing, she says she would love to see the Carnival again. Ina doesn't understand her grandmother's enthusiasm for Carnival, exclaiming how repetitive the music is and how uncomfortable it is to be around sweaty people in the parade. She convinces the two to start moving and they soon head out. They arrive at the park and Ina instructs her grandmother to record the show. As the crowd gathers, Ina tells her staff to hurry the preparations. Ina organized the show to set her apart from other students and get a recommendation letter to study in Paris. She also knows that she will not get any support from her dad as he strongly opposes her pursuing fashion, so she needs this to be successful. The show starts and Ina introduces herself. Her brother, Tavinho, serves as her model, showcasing her pieces, and Ina passionately describes the outfits to her audience. Meanwhile, Ina's father, Otavio, who is the town's mayor, sees the event while driving by. Enraged, he interrupts the show and disperses the crowd. Ina and her father argue as he insists that their traditional town has no place for fashion shows. Otavio is aspiring to be the governor in the coming election, and he's trying to control everything to ensure that his political party selects him as a candidate. He insists that Ina and Tavinho should accompany him to the upcoming political party convention, but Ina chooses to stay behind to care for her grandmother, leaving Tavinho with no choice but to go with him. Back at home, as her grandmother watches the news about the upcoming Carnival, Ina learns that a renowned stylist from Los Angeles, Carrie, is coming to design costumes for Portella. She believes that a recommendation from Carrie would guarantee her acceptance to study in Paris. Hearing this, her grandmother insists that she go to Portella and speak with Carrie. She tells her dad that she and her grandmother are going to the Carnival, but he strongly opposes it, reminding her about the accident that killed her mother years ago during Carnival. Apparently, they lived in Rio before, but the loss of his wife made Otavio decide to leave, deeming that the Carnival is not safe for his family. This is also why he chose Marantinho, a town where Carnival has never been held. Ina insists on going, but Otavio does not give her permission. Otavio challenges Ina, stating that if she doesn't get a scholarship for Paris, she will have no choice but work for his campaign. Then, he and Tavinho leave to go to the convention. Ina's grandmother encourages her to pursue her dreams so she doesn't end up with frustration in life. Then, she recalls that her dad will be away for 2 weeks and won't find out if she goes to Carnival. She tells her grandmother they could go together, but she tells Ina that she doesn't have the strength to party anymore at her age. Ina hurriedly packs and leaves using her father's campaign car. Arriving in Rio, she faces heavy traffic due to the street parties going on. Then, a group of partygoers passes by, making it more difficult to move. She honks at them, but they are too engrossed in the party to hear. Attempting to get out of there, she inches the car forward and accidentally hits a guy who's dressed as a clown. She gets out to check on him when suddenly, another guy sprinkles both of them with glitter confetti, calling it a shower of love, and then leaves. Ina offers to call an ambulance, but the guy insists he's fine and everyone is just having fun, so she doesn't need to feel bad. This comment irritates Ina, arguing that it was not her fault he got hit in the first place. The clown guy just dismisses her angry attitude and greets her a happy Carnival, but she retorts saying she doesn't like the Carnival at all before going back inside her car and leaving. She arrives at the home of her friend, Kaka, and tells her what happened. Kaka playfully asks if the guy she hit is attractive. Ina pauses with a subtle smile but utters that she didn't notice. Kaka then requests Ina to listen to a new song she's written, saying she wants her to hear it before sending it to her manager. Ina questions if she already has a manager, but Kaka just tells her she doesn't have one yet, and just said it to manifest it. Shortly after, Ina heads to Portella and catches a glimpse of Carrie inside, distracting her from noticing a big float coming her way, hitting her. Surprisingly, the guy behind the float is the clown guy from earlier, Gimma. Surprised to see her there, Gimma accuses her of stalking him. Annoyed, Ina states that she's only there to see Carrie. Gimma tells her that Carrie is very busy during the Carnival. Ina asks for his help, but he criticizes her instead, knowing she doesn't even like the Carnival. She persists in trying to persuade him, saying she'll even work for free, but Gimma emphasizes that community members get more preference as workers there and walks out, leaving Ina frustrated. Ina sees a Portella shirt lying around, quickly snatches it and changes, attempting to seem like a genuine fan of Portella. She then approaches the person in charge, Joka, introduces herself, and offers to volunteer. Joka refuses, saying Carnival is too close and they are not accepting any more workers. Then, Gimma sees her talking to Joka and sighs at her persistence. Joka suddenly remembers where he first saw Ina. He turns out to be the guy who sprinkled confetti over her and Gimma previously. Joka playfully tells her that anyone he showers with his romance glitters develop a Carnival romance. Ina insists that she did not come for a Carnival romance but to work. They insist that they prefer people from the community, but Ina states that her mother worked at Portella for years, as a seamstress. Suspecting that Ina is just making it up, they mockingly ask her where she is now, and Ina reveals that her mom perished in a car accident, making the two guys feel sorry. Taking advantage of their sympathy, Ina says that she's there to search for her roots. Unfortunately, Gima sees right through her and exposes to Joka that she's only there to talk to Carrie. Gima then suggests sending her to Arlete, who is apparently a merciless person, as if to challenge her. She finds Arlete and tells her that Joka sent her. Ina proudly tells her she's a fashion student, and Arlete expresses that she needs experienced seamstresses, not students. Ina cockily tells Arlete that she knows so much better than anyone there, even pointing out a stitch that a young seamstress, Taddy, is working on, saying those will not last. Taddy states that her mom taught her, and Ina quickly retorts that her mom taught her incorrectly, unaware that Taddy's mother is actually Arlete, putting her in an even tighter spot. Luckily, a delivery of fabrics arrives, and Taddy tells Arlete there's no one to move those. Seizing the opportunity, Arlete gives Ina the job. Moments later, Taddy asks permission to leave early as she wants to play the drums at the upcoming Carnival. She tells her mom that she's always wanted to do it, but a vacancy has just opened. Arlete insists that she already committed to being a seamstress and she would have to finish her task first before she could go. Overhearing this, Ina encourages Taddy to pursue her passion, offering to complete her task for her so she could go. Taddy agrees and heads out to her rehearsals. During her break, Ina watches Taddy's practice and calls her grandmother to show her the drummers rehearsing. While on the call, Gima sneaks up behind her. Ina's grandmother sees Gima and asks if they are romantically involved, which Ina quickly denies, but her grandma teases them, saying she thinks they might end up in a romantic samba. Ina ends the call and turns to Gima, expressing how her grandma would have loved to experience everything there. Gima teases Ina, saying he didn't think she liked samba, but Ina proves him wrong by showing him her samba moves, and they indeed end up doing samba together, just like grandma predicted. The next morning, Ina impresses Taddy as she indeed finished her tasks, as promised. Taddy promises to help her with her remaining tasks, but Ina says she likes working alone to ensure things are done her way. Then, Arlete interrupts them, seemingly frustrated as Ina hang the costumes, which Arlete ordered to be put in the mannequins. She tells Ina and Taddy to fix those immediately since the fittings start in 15 minutes. Just as Ina starts to move, her grandmother calls, saying her dad is looking for her. Frustrated at his father's timing, she hurriedly looks for a quiet and dark place to answer her father's call and pretends she's in bed with a headache. It turns out that he got notified about a speeding violation and exclaims how much damage Ina caused, as his face and name was plastered all over the car. Ina makes up an excuse, saying she needed to get medicine for her grandmother, and swiftly ends the call. She quickly gets back to work, and Taddy asks her to fix Quilina's costume, called the Freedom Wings. She laughs, commenting it doesn't represent freedom wings at all, adding that it looks generic. At that moment, Quilina walks in and hears her comment, looking for Carrie to change her costume's design. As Quilina's big fan, Taddy comes up to her asking her for a photo, to which Quilina agrees, even asking everyone to gather up for a group video to post in her story. Meanwhile, at the convention, Tevinho gets bored and scrolls through his social media. Coincidentally, he comes across Quilina's story and is surprised to see Ina there. He then asks his dad if he could go home, pretending he wants to check on Ina and his grandmother, and fortunately, his father agrees. Back at Portella, Arlete, who is still after Ina's neck, mentions she inquired with all the seamstresses there, but no one knows her mother, Yona. One of the performers hears this and is surprised to know that Ina is Yona's daughter, explaining that she wasn't a seamstress, but a good dancer. She even tells Ina that everyone knows her for uniting the Samba schools to rebuild the Carnival after a fire struck the schools years ago, making Ina beam with pride and happiness. Then, they start the costume fittings, and unfortunately, it rips out, infuriating Arlete. Without hesitation, Arlete fires the seamstresses. Ina tries to defend them, saying she already told Arlete about the poor stitching previously, but this just angers Arlete even more and fires Ina too. Ina turns to the seamstresses, saying they shouldn't just give up. Taddy tells Ina that her mom never changes her mind, so her efforts are futile, but Ina, persistent as ever, states that she will fix this. She then proceeds to strategize what they could do. Minutes later, Arlete is now on her way back with Joka, explaining what happened. She sees the seamstresses she fired still there, and before she could further rant, they show her their improved design, which impresses Joka, and even Arlete, resolving the situation. Before Joka leaves, Ina runs up to him, asking if Carrie will be at the rehearsals tomorrow night. Joka says she will be there, and knowing that Ina wants to see Carrie, he helps her to convince Arlete to let Ina go there. Rehearsal night comes and Ina brings Kaka with her to help her look for Carrie. As they walk in, Kaka sees Quilina with her manager, Hyder. Kaka states that she sent Hyder numerous emails previously to become her manager. Kaka asks Ina to introduce her to him, so she brings her to Quilina. Ina introduces Kaka to Quilina, and Quilina willingly introduces Kaka to Hyder. Ina and Quilina are at the VIP section, where Quilina shows Ina her samba moves, and as Ina spins, she bumps into Gima, who accidentally spills food on her shirt. Gimma offers to show her to the bathroom to fix the mess. On their way, Ina notices that Gimma is pretty well known by most people there. Gimma explains that it's because he has been working at Portella his whole life. Apparently, Gimma left Rio 3 years ago to work as a model in Los Angeles and missed the Carnival so much he decided to come back this year. Seeing her soiled shirt, Gimma takes off his shirt and offers it to her. Ina looks at his gorgeous toned body for a moment, appreciating the sight before her. At the VIP section's entrance, Tevinho arrives and sees Ina. He tries to sneak past the guards but gets caught. Luckily, Ina sees him and calls Joka to help. Seeing Joka, Tevinho seems captivated by him, and Joka playfully hits on him too. Ina explains to Tevinho that he's there to get Carrie's recommendation. Ina sees Carrie walking to the dressing room and hurries to go talk to her. As Ina is about to introduce herself, Quelina arrives and interrupts to discuss her costume with Carrie, quoting Ina's comments about it being generic, asking her to alter it. Carrie finds this unbelievable, telling Quelina that the Carnival is too close and nothing can be done about it anymore. Quelina doesn't like this, saying she will no longer perform at the Carnival, and storms off. Furious, Carrie turns to Arlete and also tells her she's done with the Carnival. Ina tries to apologize to Arlete, but the angry Arlete tells her to get lost. However, Ina doesn't give up easily and runs after Carrie. Just before Carrie leaves, Ina begs her to give her a chance to help her and finally convinces her. At Carrie's hotel, Ina mentions her intention of studying in Paris. Carrie asks for Ina's opinion on how to alter the design and Ina expresses her ideas. While Carrie is peacefully sleeping, Ina and Teddy work on modifying the costume. The next morning, they show the redesigned costume to Quelina and she is impressed. Carrie expresses that Quelina's critique inspired her to make the modifications, without mentioning Ina at all. Ina then talks to Carrie saying she thought she would at least mention her, but seemingly annoyed. Carrie tells her she should be thankful she allowed Ina to work with her. Ina then asks if Carrie could write her a recommendation letter for Paris instead. Carrie agrees, as long as everything goes well until the Carnival is over. That night, Ina, Tevinho, and their friends go out for drinks. Quelina arrives and gives them wristbands to watch the Carnival from the VIP box. Quelina also reveals that she knows the costume was redesigned by Ina, not Carrie. Ina assures her that it's fine as long as she gets the recommendation letter. Quelina tries to convince Ina that Paris is not her thing and that Carnival suits her more. Gimma and Joka arrive and join them. Ina remembers that she forgot to return Gimma's shirt and he tells her he'll forgive her if she dances with him, and so she agrees and they start dancing. Quelina excuses herself for a bit and Kaka and Taddy go with her, leaving Tevinho alone with Joka, who seems to still be flirting with him. Joka then asks Tevinho if he wants to join the parade since a dancer got sick and they need a replacement, saying Tevinho perfectly fits the role. Tevinho could not refuse Joka. Everyone continues singing along and dancing, enjoying the moment. The next scenes show us a glimpse of the busy days leading to the Carnival. Tevinho finally agrees to be a dancer for Joka and joins their rehearsals. Taddy happily plays the drums, and Ina and Gimma's feelings for each other continue to deepen. Carnival day finally comes and everyone is bustling around, making sure everything is perfect. Ina takes a break and Gimma sees her. Gimma shows her the Portella Eagle parade float he crafted. He invites Ina to climb atop it, giving them a beautiful view of the parade, and there, they share a sweet kiss together. Meanwhile at the convention, Ottavio approaches the party's president, bringing up his bid for being governor. However, the president bluntly states that Marantinho is an unknown town and selecting a candidate from there would not be good for the party. Ottavio feels defeated as everything he's been fighting for is seemingly turning to nothing. Back at the Carnival, while Ina and Gimma are still atop the Eagle float, Ina tries to bring up what she previously told Gimma about loving Portella, seemingly trying to confess that she initially really did not care for it. However, Gimma interrupts with the news that he has decided to stay there and not go back to the US. Ina, although surprised, feels happy knowing that Gimma will not be going away. Moments later, Gimma helps Ina get down from the float. Carrie sees them and tells Ina to go help Quelina get dressed. Carrie praises Gimma's float and comments that the jurors will surely like it. Suddenly, Carrie kisses Gimma but he pulls away. It turns out that Gimma and Carrie were ex-lovers back in Los Angeles, and the reason Carrie agreed to be a stylist at this year's Carnival is because she's trying to win Gimma back and convince him to pursue his career in the US. Gimma expresses his gratitude for everything she helped him with, but he has decided to stay. Ina and Taddy have just finished helping Quelina get dressed. They ask Arlete for permission so they could go see the parade, still covering up that Taddy is playing the drums. However, Arlete reveals that she knows about it and expresses that she's proud of her daughter, giving her a hug before sending her off. Arlete also thanks Ina for everything she has done for her daughter and for Portella. Arlete may be a very tough shell on the outside, but undeniably, she saw all of Ina's efforts and appreciates her. Ina gives Arlete a hug before going. The parade begins, showcasing the beautiful performances. Inside the VIP box, Ina gets through the crowd and runs into Gimma. She tries her best to tiptoe to see the performances and the costume she designed. Gimma is surprised to hear that she made a costume and Ina tells him she designed it with Carrie, saying Carrie is writing a recommendation letter for her. Gima realizes the situation and tries to tell Ina the truth about him and Carrie, but Ina is too busy trying to get a good view of the performances. Then, she sees Tavinho's performance, painted from head to toe and enjoying the dance. She takes a video of him and sends it to her grandmother. The performance is also being broadcast live on TV and Ottavio is able to see it from the convention, clueless that the performer he is seeing is his son. The performances continue and we see Coelina, as well as Taddy happily enjoying their performances. Meanwhile, Kaka and Hyder are talking at the open bar. She asks him to listen to the new song she composed and gets his opinion. Hyder says she has the talent but still has a long way to go and that he's willing to help. Then, he asks her if she wants to go with him to his apartment, implying that he has other intentions in exchange for helping Kaka with her career. Kaka's smile instantly disappears. She tries to walk out but Hyder stops her. Luckily, Ina sees them and she and Gima intervene. They walk out from the VIP room with Kaka. Coelina arrives and sees them, prompting Ina to reveal what happened. The furious Coelina confronts Hyder. He tries to explain his side but Coelina doesn't believe him and decides to fire him. The group is now frustrated over not being able to finish watching the parade because of what happened. But Gima lightens the mood by bringing them to a roof deck with a nice view of the parade where they continue to party. Moments later, Coelina and the others bid goodbye while Ina and Gima remain, having a private intimate moment. Then, they go to Gima's apartment where they share a passionate night together. Morning comes and unexpectedly, Carrie goes to Gima's place and sees the two of them in bed. Ina, who is clueless about Gima and Carrie's past, asks Gima what's happening. Carrie shows her an article with her and Gima's photo kissing with the headline saying Gima has swapped Carrie for her, giving her the clue about their relationship. Then, Carrie tells Ina that since she's so desperate for a recommendation letter for Paris, she will recommend everyone to stay away from her, crushing Ina's dream and the main reason she's there in the first place. Gima explains that Carrie and him are over and that she's just trying to convince him to go back to Los Angeles. He also insists that Ina's love for the Carnival made him decide to stay. Hearing this, Ina reveals that she doesn't love the Carnival and that she only ever wanted to get Carrie's recommendation letter to study in Paris. Then, Ina gets a call from her father informing her that her grandmother has been rushed to the hospital. She hurriedly goes back to Kaka's place. Kaka and Tavinho notice her agitated mood and ask her to calm down, but she could not calm down given everything that's happening. She tells them that she's lost her dream and nothing can be done. And now her grandma is sick, blaming herself for leaving her alone. They arrive at the hospital and see their dad, who instantly expresses his disappointment after knowing everything. Ottavio tells Ina that she will no longer pursue fashion. Filled with guilt, Ina, who is normally so persistent, doesn't argue with him anymore and heads to her grandma's room. Seeing her grandchildren, Ina's grandmother exclaims she's happy that they got to experience Carnival. Ina apologizes for leaving her alone, but she insists that their happiness is her happiness, saying she knew they would love the Carnival because it has always been in their blood. She then shows a photo of their mother and father together at a Carnival years ago. Ina could not believe that her dad used to love the Carnival and knew that he only started hating it after the accident that killed her mom. On their way back home, as they stop over at a gasoline station, Tavinho catches a glimpse of a gay couple being very sweet with each other. Ina sees her brother's seemingly envious expression and asks if there is something he wants to tell her. Tavinho is hesitant, seemingly unsure himself, and just tells Ina that he's still getting to know himself, pertaining to his sexuality. Ina assures him she'll always have his back. Then, Ina sees Gima and Carrie being interviewed on TV. Carrie is stating that she and Gima have decided to go back to Los Angeles together. An angry expression can be seen in Ina's face. The TV host also teases upcoming news about Coelina's street party being cancelled after her manager got arrested for sexual. This news gives Ina an idea. In a flash, the persistent Ina is back once more. She immediately gets in the car, leaving Tavinho with her dad and grandmother, and drives back to Rio. At home, while Ina's family is having tea, Ottavio notices the teacup shaking and hears a loud music outside. He goes to see what's happening and is shocked to see a parade, all complete with floats, drummers, and performers doing their thing on their own street. It turns out that since Coelina's much-anticipated street party has been cancelled, Ina gathered all her friends from Portella to bring the Carnival to Marintinho instead. Her grandmother sees this and is very delighted to see her beloved Carnival right before her eyes. Even the townspeople are joining the festivities. Ottavio calls the town sheriff in an attempt to stop the Carnival that he hates so much. Ina stops him and talks to him, making him realize he has to stop trying to control everything and remember how her mom taught them that life is better when they are all together. Ottavio tears up at this. As if his hardened heart has finally softened up, he embraces his love for the Carnival again. Tavinho sees Joka and thanks him for everything. Joka insists that he doesn't need to thank him as he loves seeing Tavinho come out of his shell. After finally mustering up the courage, Tavinho kisses Joka. Ina sees this and is happy to see her brother finally being comfortable with himself. Unexpectedly, Gima shows up and approaches Ina. He hands Ina the recommendation letter from Carrie. Puzzled, Ina asks how Gima was able to convince her to write the letter, but he doesn't answer, and then just walks away, leaving Ina crying. She finally got her recommendation letter, but is now losing the person she loves. Her friends see Ina crying and comfort her. Joker reveals that Gemma is not willingly going with Carrie to Los Angeles. It turns out that Gemma made a deal with Carrie to give Ina her recommendation letter, in exchange for him going back to Los Angeles with her. Learning this, Ina rushes to the top of the float, gets the microphone from Quelina and calls out Gemma, crying while furiously blaming him for not getting the letter in the first place. Ina rips out the letter and exclaims how audacious Gemma is to try to be a hero now. She expresses how much she wants to hate him, but couldn't, clearly expressing that she has fallen in love with him. Gemma tries to walk away, but Ina runs after him and tells him that she does not want their relationship to end, knowing that what they feel for each other is real. And at this moment, they finally reconcile. Gemma expresses that he'll go with Ina to Paris, and together they have decided that they would like to bring their beloved Carnival there.